What's the craziest thing a buyer or seller has ever done on a deal?
What's the commission on these deals?
If you had to start all over today, what would be your first move?
Is there any questions on the chat?
Paul was asking, how do I join Mentorship?
How do you, Paul, do me a favor. Send me a DM me Mentorship, and I'll reach out to you and we'll discuss. We're having a Miami Mentorship. I have to call the company back, but we're also going to have a New York one, another New York one as well. In my mentorship program, we started in late December. We already 3 people already closed their first deal, big deals. They just learned how to hunt, so now they know how to hunt forever. And we have them every Wednesday, and it's just the energy in the room, and it's not even the energy, the people that join are just class of the art people. Everyone is a class A person in the mentorship, meaning I'm so blessed to have them in my life. It's just everyone's like-minded. We all want to win. We all want to make money. We all want to get better at life in general. We all want to be a better dad. We all just help each other. We pick each other up. And that's what we're doing, and we're selling businesses, and we're speaking to owners, and we're adding value to owners. Owners come into the mentorship program, and they're like, I want to join. I invited one of my clients into the mentorship program. They were sitting there like, sign me up. So it is the most outstanding program ever. So if you're interested in joining the mentorship program, DM me Mentorship. This is not some social media influencer just talking. I have testimonials from everyone in the mentorship program. I can send them to you if you want to even see them. Just for the proof of concept.
Boy 786, so his name is Sohail. He's asking if there's any gas station deals in Atlanta, Georgia.
Nick, I gotta check the system. I'm sure we have deals. But if you want to send me your criteria, anyone that wants to buy a business, send me your criteria. I want to buy gas stations. I want to buy med spas. I want to buy car washes. Wherever you want to buy them, send them to me, and I'll find you deals. I can get them on social media. I can get them through the lead generation portal. I can find you off-market deals. I can add you to my buyers club, which is tremendous. So there are so many things to do.
I got Brian 069 asks, if you had to start all over today, what would be your first move?
That's a phenomenal question, Brian. If I had to start all over today, I'm gonna just basically dive into this industry. I'm not gonna expect to make millions my first year, but I'm gonna expect to just go out there and not be afraid to fail. That's the answer. Don't be afraid to fail, Brian. Whatever you want to do, go out there and just go full force, because if you do that, you're gonna fail. You're not gonna fail. You gotta perceive failures as lessons. And if you go into this industry, you're gonna learn so much more than any other industry, because you're learning about all different businesses.
What's the requirements to be a business broker?
Great question, Naz. In 34 states, you don't need a real estate license to sell businesses, New York being one of them. In 16 states, Florida, California, you need a real estate license to sell businesses. So whatever state you're in, just look it up. There's 16 states that you need a real estate license in, but you can sell businesses in other states, but just not those states.
Eliana is asking, what is the first step?
What is the first step of becoming a broker? The first step of becoming a business broker is just reaching out to me. Send me your contact information, and I'll send it to you in an email, and I'll just give that to you. And if you like it, then we can talk further.
I got Michelle 2614 asking, if I'm a real estate agent, can I also do business brokering?
Absolutely. A real estate agent knows about transactions. That gives you an advantage of starting in business brokering. If you understand transactions, if you understand buyer, seller, deal, putting them together, you can get started right away. You can stay at your real estate company. You can join Headstone. There's many options. Any other questions?
She also just asked one last thing. What are the major differences between real estate and business brokering?
That's a great question. So there are a lot of differences. Business brokering, there's a ton of moving parts. Let's put a restaurant out there, for example. If you're selling a restaurant versus you're selling a piece of property, a restaurant has gross revenue, so does a property, but you have payroll, you have food cost, you have insurance cost, you have advertising, you have credit card fees, you have electric, gas, water, garbage, liquor costs. So there's so many more moving parts in a business. You don't own the dirt. You have a lease usually, unless you own the property with the business. And every business is evaluated differently. Not like real estate. It's not based on just a cap rate, income approach, price per square footage. So many different businesses, and they're just different.
Pardon my way of asking. If you're buying someone's business, are you buying their problem? Why would someone sell a business if it's doing good?
That's a great question, and you always want to ask questions like that. Some people want to retire. Some people been in business for 30 years, and they're just making money and they want to exit and they're tired of going to work every day and they want to have some freedom in their life. Some people are going through a divorce. Some people are having partnership disputes. Every single deal has a different narrative. So you got to take it deal by deal, but that's a great question.
Sunset Tours FL asks, what's the craziest thing a buyer or seller has ever done on a deal?
Who said that? I got crazy. I got stories that I can't even say on here, but I might as well. Just to get everyone hyped. I don't know. I got, people trying to screw people left and right, at the closing table, fist fight breaks out with the partners. They decide, we took a year to close this deal. They decide at the closing to have an all-out brawl. Me and the buyers are like, what the hell is going on? And the deal just doesn't happen. And we wasted 12 months of it. That was a crazy story. A car wash guy tries to screw me over on a deal. I bring in a buyer. I sue him. I say, you're trying to screw me. I send him a lawsuit. In our business, you got to be ready to fight. And this is fun, guys. And it's good to be part of Headstone because we always win. So we throw a lawsuit at him for trying to screw us on our commission. And on the back end, I make a deal with a buyer. And I say, you know what, call the seller directly. I just need you to sign my commission agreement. You're going to pay me. You deal with him directly. They close the deal. I get paid. I tell the seller to go, And it's just so many stories, man. I can get into that all day.
As a 26-year-old, how to get into business brokering and how to find a mentor?
Gil, you're looking at them right now, man. I have a mentorship program. Join the mentorship program. I'm teaching everyone. We could do it virtually. We could come in, and I'm actually going to Vegas soon. I can meet you. We could do a call. But this is the business to be in, whether it's with me or whether it's with anyone. Do it yourself. In Vegas, you need a real estate license, so you need a real estate broker. But the way to start is to go on YouTube. Look at my YouTube channel, Business Broker King on YouTube. I have so much valuable content on that channel that will just get you started. I have a course that you can purchase, or I can just go on my YouTube. Don't purchase it. Just go right on my YouTube. It's better.
Can this be done remotely?
Of course it could, Brian. Great question. I have so many deals where I've never met the buyer, never met the seller, and I still haven't met them, and I close the deal and the wire just comes in, and it's like, oh my God. Most of our deals are like that, when we never meet them. It's always good to meet. If you're local, it will help the deal out so well, but you could do this business without meeting a buyer, without meeting a seller, and that's how you scale. That's what I do. I just sit in my office and do deals now. This is my office, guys.
How does seller financing work when doing deals?
Thank you, Beautiful Days Forever. I like that hashtag.
Phil Crawford.
Phil Crawford. He's new. I'm gonna have a call with him. He's impressive. He just joined Headstone. How does seller financing work? Seller financing is deal by deal basis. It's super, super creative. So every deal is different. I was going over this with one of our guys in the mentorship program today. Everyone here should download the app Bank Rate Amortization Calculator, and you can really plug and play numbers. Bank Rate Amortization Calculator, and you can plug in the amount of years, the interest rate, and you can play with numbers. So for an example, I know the numbers by heart today. $700,000 in seller financing, 5 years at 6% is roughly $13,000 and change a month. It's about $162,000. The business cash flows $350. So that's why I came up with those seller financing terms. 5 years, 6%. It's about 13 and change, about $167 a year. The business is making, it's a med spa, the business is making $350. After paying that loan, the business is left with around $180 a year. And the buyer is putting up $500,000. It's a $1.2 million deal. So he's making about 37% cash on cash return. That's how I look at deals. So, You got to crunch the numbers deal by deal basis. You got to prep the sellers. You got to prep the buyers before you do anything and make sure they're okay with the interest, with the terms. Every deal is different.
Underscore Nas Esco asks, are there any express car washes for sale in New York?
Let's go over some deals. That's a good one too. I have 2 self-service car washes, not express. It's even better. Self-service is when the customers do all the work. Only 1 to 2 employees. I have 2 of them upstate New York for $2.5 million with the properties. They cash flow $400,000. So great deal. Seller is motivated. That's a good deal. We have express car washes in Jersey. New York, it's tough. It's a different market for, only upstate. I can find you express car washes. Just let me know where you're looking.
Can you describe what is the rollover strategy?
Great question. Equity rollover. So a lot of these big companies like plumbing companies, roofing companies, HVAC companies, these owners, they want a second bite at the apple. They will sell 80% of their company, they'll leave 20% on the table, and then they'll get on board with these private equity companies that are giving them the 80%, and they'll start buying other companies in their field, and that's called a platform. They're building a platform. So they're going to roll over 20% of their company, they're going to take 80% from the private equity, and then they're going to start buying other types of companies, and then later on they're going to sell everything to a huge behemoth private equity company, and then they're going to get a second bite to the apple.
Sam Kapoor is asking, what are the biggest myths in your industry? Can you bust some myths?
Myths? I like that, Sam. Come on, Sammy. Biggest myths. 10% SBA. That is the biggest bogus I've ever heard about. You're not getting an SBA deal done at 10% unless the stars perfectly align. Another myth. A lot of these buyers say, "Oh, money's not the problem." That means that A, they were born with a silver spoon in their mouth, or B, they're full of shit. Money is, if anyone that works their ass off, that's not what you say. I had someone say it to me last week. Price is not the problem. Get the hell out of here. Another myth. What's another myth? I'm pre-approved for a $5 million SBA. It's not about you. It's about the business. I'm pre-approved for everyone's pre-approved for $5 million. Is the business going to qualify? Is the financials on the tax returns able to support the loan? Now, if you're strong, that will help, but still, it's about the financials. Businesses, here's another myth. Businesses that have a ton of cash can't be sold. That's BS. A lot of these businesses are the best businesses. It's how you learn how to do the due diligence.
You have a question from Nas again, is what is your take on buying route businesses? What's the multiple on those?
I like route businesses because they're easier to close. There's no landlord. So it's just you and the buyer, right? And if there's a franchise, it's a franchise. The seller and the buyer. So routes, all different routes trade at different multiples. I sold a bunch of Pepperidge Farm routes last year, this year. 3, 4x, on the higher stuff, 4x, FedEx, 4x, tortilla routes, 3x, 4x, that range.
Nick O, the pro, Nick Ortiz asks, should I focus on smaller businesses first or go straight for bigger businesses?
Good question. I mean, it really depends. It takes as much energy to deal with a big business, than to do a small business. It's the same amount of work. But the issue, if it takes longer if you're going to do a $50, $60, $80 million deal than if you were going to do a $200,000 to $300,000 deal. So I would work on both, Nick. I would work on a few of the smaller deals to pay the bills, because those pay the bills, those happen quick, and then just try to work on a few large deals. So once you get those small deals in, your bills are paid, you get that one large deal, boom. Then you have a lot of breathing room. Then you could focus on larger deals. But you always want the small deals to come in because those pay the bills.
Young Honey Dawn is asking, I guess, to elaborate on funding.
Yeah, funding is such a void in the business brokerage industry. I was sitting down with the supermarket owner yesterday, and 90% of our deals are done through seller financing. 90% of business cannot get SBA or traditional funding because they don't. What shows on their tax returns, it does not depict what their business is doing. So a bank can't read between the lines. So the only way to secure the funding is through seller financing. And you can't do both because the SBA is always going to want first position and the seller is going to always want first position. So you can't do both. So I really push to all my sellers, seller financing. You're going to defer your capital gains over time. You're going to get interest. We're going to open up a huge buyer pool for you where we're going to have bidding wars. And it just makes so much more sense. And if the collateral will be the business, and then maybe sometimes we'll get a piece of property for collateral as well. So you got to push seller financing if you're looking to sell businesses. That's how you're going to get deals done.
Someone buy a business using seller financing and then refinance the balance using SBA.
It's tough, Victor, and the reason why is everyone wants to be in that first position. So you can buy the business with seller financing. Is the seller going to not want to get that interest? Is there a prepayment penalty if you pay the seller everything up front, set in that promissory note? So it's very difficult to do that. I would just strictly focus on seller financing. SBAs right now, 8 to 10%. Seller financing, I push between 5 and 6%. It adds up. There's no SBA guarantee fees. There's no appraisal, quick deals, and you get deals done.
What's the commission on these deals?
Look at my hat. Look at my hat.
Example on $1 million deal.
I'm just kidding. I really love $1 to $10 million deals because I get this commission, everyone. Even on a $10 million, I might get 8 points on a $10 million deal, right? But, you know, it's so hard to believe. You might not believe me, but that's the truth. I just picked up a huge company, a $10 million company. I got 8%. So anything 5 million below, definitely 10%. We closed a manufacturing deal, $5.5 million, we got 10%. We just closed a healthcare deal, we got 9%, $6 million. You know, if you're up to 5 million, you want to stay at the 10% mark.
Artist Shiva asks, what's the difference between doing this with the mentor or on my own?
Good question. So mentorship, you have my attention. If you're in the mentorship program, I'm going to really, every Wednesday I focus with you, especially if you're local, you come into my office. I'm going to get a bigger office now so we can have at least 50 people in here. And we just train. We just go at it hard, heavy. And that's the mentorship program. We're going to get that one-on-one time with the group, with me, with my team behind me. Headstone, you can be put on a team. Headstone's phenomenal too. I have all the online courses. I have all the online education. I teach you step by step. Everything is in your database. Everything's in your dashboard. You're signing into the CRM. Headstone's set up like a well-oiled machine, but you got to do it by yourself or with a team lead. Mentorship is with me.